Combat Sports Weekly. We're your hosts, Jorge Hernandez.
And I'm Jody Escobar, where we brought in a panel of experts for a verbal sparring match. Each guy will have 30 seconds to weigh in on their opinion on a national or regional topic that we've chosen. I'm going to do my best to stay out of it.
Time for the roundtable. Start off with introductions from Southwest Fight News. Phil Lujan, how long have you been writing for?
4, 5, 6 years.
Do you like it still?
I love it.
We move on to the next guest here, Justin Goodrum of Low Blow MMA Boxing Podcast. Something we've been doing for years, man, and it's getting us to at least this moment, right?
Yeah, they finally let us on TV, man. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And finally, blogger, writer, Mika Frankl from Cage Minds MMA. It's a pleasure to have you, man.
Always a pleasure to talk with you guys.
Let's jump right into it. One of the biggest cards, at least locally, that we've anticipated throughout the year, UFC 184, Rousey Zigano, home Pennington. What are your thoughts and feelings about this, such a big card for a native Albuquerquean?
First off, just for women's MMA, co-main event, main event, that's a huge moment in history. And then even for Albuquerque, Holly Holmes, our star, her big debut, it's going to be a great moment.
Now, a prediction, I guess, for each one of the fights, and how do you feel each one of them would end respectively?
Rousey, I think she retains the title. I think Zigano's tough, so it goes about as deep as any of her fights have gone, so that's into the second round. Rousey by armbar. Holm, I like her boxing, her striking, her movement. Unanimous decision over Pennington.
Just beat the bell. On to you, Justin.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this card. The fortunes of this whole event have changed. It's supposed to be 2 title fights. Now it's all about women's MMA, so I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Does it still mean the same to you, though, because of home? Does that almost feel like a championship fight for you?
Oh, it's huge because right now, quite honestly, if she wins impressively, I see her in line for the title just because of the division's really not that deep, or they fought Rousey already. So if she looks good, I can see her getting the belt next.
Phil, you got a few more seconds. How soon before we see Holly fight for a title? And of course, what are your thoughts in these two matches?
I would like to see Holly get a few wins before she fights Rousey. I think the experience in the octagon means a lot. I'm really looking forward to this fight with Raquel Pennington. I think it's a great matchup for her. Her footwork and her movements is so up. It's above everybody else's in that division. And I just see her beating Pennington, whose last loss was to a fellow professional boxer, Jessica Rakoczy.
Is co-main event too soon for Holly?
No, I think it's perfect. They're getting her name out there, and if she wins, they're priming her ready and prepared for a title fight.
Jody, you might be biased just because this is a good friend and a teammate here. How do you feel about this card?
I think the card is amazing. I'm going to be out there for it. Women's MMA, like you guys said, is here, and it's ready to stay. We have a main event in the UFC. When we said that we were never going to see women's in the UFC, and here we are with a main event. Holly wins it, and she's probably next in line for the title,
Your main event prediction?
Armbar.
Going out on a limb there, literally and figuratively. We move on to huge news, I think, that just rocked the sports world with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao finally announcing their fights. I know you're a pretty big boxing fan, Jay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this contest?
In terms of the actual hype and build-up, it's going to be a circus. I'm not really looking forward to that. But once the 2 guys step into the ring, I think it's going to be a fantastic match. Even though both guys are somewhat past their prime, I think the matchup alone is going to be very exciting.
Now, are you going to a friend's house? You're going to a movie theater? That's $100, man.
We're going over to your place to watch it.
Yeah, I'm the only one crazy enough to actually order it. Your prediction for the fight, I know it's early on. Anything can happen before then.
I've always liked Mayweather. I still like Mayweather. He's the better technical fighter. Pacquiao's pretty reckless, and he's a very smart boxer, but I think Mayweather's the better technical fighter.
Yeah. Phil, same question.
I believe this is the fight that saves boxing, and I think it has a big impact on saving the pay-per-view model for combat sports in general. It may have been late. The fighters may be past their peaks, but it's still a huge fight for combat sports in general, and I think it's going to shatter a lot of pay-per-view records.
Now, are you a fan of one guy more than the other?
I'm not. I love watching the defense of Mayweather and the offense of Pacquiao, and I just think it's going to be an excellent matchup between 2 very talented boxers.
Who wins?
Pacquiao.
How?
Decision.
I'm surprised you're one of the few that have said that. Is that your same prediction?
No, not gutsy enough to do that. I'm going to go with Mayweather by decision.
Yeah. Now, I know you're a much bigger MMA fan, but as far as the boxing scene, I know it's something you pay close attention to here locally. Now, nationally, will this attract you to the national scene?
Yeah, oh no, I'm waiting for an invite to your house too to go watch this. I don't think I can afford 100, but this is the biggest fight in a quarter century for boxing. This is huge. This is must-see if you're any kind of combat sports fan.
Now, if I'm ordering, you guys are pitching in at least $10, so we're halfway there. We got to muster up those other $50. So, Jody, same question to you. You're, of course, a professional boxer yourself.
Yeah.
Which of the two guys, I mean, it's a style that both of them have such different styles. Which do you prefer, and who do you see ultimately coming out of this fight?
You know what? I'm just so excited that it's happening. You know, I agree with Phil. I think that it saves boxing right now. I feel like their boxing's on a resurgence, and I'm a big fan of that. I grew up going to watch big events at boxing, you know, and having a bunch of people over, and I think this is it. I don't care who wins. I'm just glad that it's happening.
I think 4-1 Mayweather. Is that what we're thinking? Is he the only Pacquiao? All right. There we go. Let's go ahead and move on to more local news. We've seen Ray Borg's potential here with the UFC. Of course, he's being extremely successful. The next local superstar, who do you guys think that would be? That Andres Quintana, Abel Colum, someone else? And of course, touched a little bit on Borg also.
I think Ray Borg has the most potential out of any of our local athletes currently competing. He's so young and he's so talented. In the weight class that he's in, his strengths are so perfect. He's agile, he's quick, and he has very good jiu-jitsu. I think he matches up well with a lot of the top guys at that weight class. I don't know that he's at the caliber of the top, but he's definitely inching closer. The next local star for me, I believe it's Abel Colum. I believe he already was a superstar before his hiatus for MMA, but at 27 years old, I think he's pretty close to the UFC.
Justin, same questions.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Abel Colum has a lot of potential. He has a lot of international experience. And I just think he's looking for that platform to finally show what he can do. And I think hopefully UFC signs him within the next year or so.
Ray Borg, you've seen him fight a few times here, of course, locally,
Yeah.
and then on the national stage, winning these, submission of the nights. How far do you think he can potentially go at just 21 years old? I believe?
Yeah, I think in the division he's in, if he gets a couple of more wins, I think the title's not too insane to say. Just because that division's not really ripe of really named stars. I think anybody with a quick winning streak can really get in line for the title fairly quickly.
Micah?
Ray Borg, title shot, definitely champion, quite possibly. That remains to be seen, but definitely title shot in his future. I'll go the other way from everyone else. I'll say Andres Quintana, 8 straight wins, all TKOs. He's taken out every opponent put in front of him, but I bet Colum could get to the UFC quicker because of the weight classes. I believe he's going to drop down to 25. That's a more shallower weight class, easier to get into the UFC.
It's going to do it for our roundtable. Your thoughts?
Go Holly. I'm excited about boxing again, and thank you guys for taking time out of your day to come and talk shop with us,
It was fun. So
Very.
here we go. Next week, make sure you guys keep an eye out on our Facebook page, see who our guests will be. We'll see you guys. Thanks.